away we go. Jonathan, what have you done?
To dream the impossible dream.
There's no escape for you. The high table wants your life.
To right the unrightable wrong.
Tell me what you want.
Passage.
I can't help you.
To reach the unreachable star.
Do you expect him to make it out?
A $14 million bounty on his head. And everyone in the city wants a piece of it. I say the odds are about even. Doc, 5 seconds.
John Wick, excommunicado in effect in 3,
2,
1.
and away we go.
To follow that star, no matter how hopeless, no matter how far. To fight for the right, without question or pause. To be willing to march into hell for a heavenly cause.
Sophia, we're not going in like the old days. Just a conversation.
Nothing's ever just a conversation with you, John.
Reach the unreachable star.
All right, so we got that John Wick trailer going out. So most of us have seen the John Wick movies except for Derek. Is that right?
I have not seen them.
You either?
I haven't seen either one.
Okay, so they are fun, action, testosterone, lots of killing, all based on the love of a man for his dog. Is that correct?
Yeah, actually, that's basically the whole premise for all. So the first one,
I was going to ask.
So they each one has kind of a different phase in his life. So the first one, he's kind of out of the game and gets forced back into it. And the second
Was he a
one,
spy?
no, he's an assassin.
Assassin, okay.
And they live in like this world where they have like all these rules and like they're very strict about their rules. Like you can kill anybody you want except for like in a specific hotel. Like they have these safe havens where you can be face to face with the person that you're supposed to kill, but as long as you're in there, you can't do anything. Second you walk out the door, y'all can kill each other all you want.
Like Sanctuary.
Yeah, and then so the second movie, in every movie he has like a dog that something tragic happens to it. So that's kind of what like an ongoing joke in every one. But that one looks like the doggies are gonna be fighting with them.
Plus we get Halle Berry.
Halle Berry
And
looks like a good.
She needed some work.
Yeah, well, she did something other than I'm a kind of mealy woman that's doing a thing and I'm going to rescue someone that's getting kidnapped, because that's been 2 or 3 of her movie premises.
I can't remember her last movie.
But it was, I think she was like a 911 operator, or maybe she, wasn't that it? And
she was in Kingsman too.
Yeah, she was in the
right.
Kingsman movie, which I thoroughly enjoyed. Yeah. But one of her solo movies was she was, a 911 operator, and someone got kidnapped, and she had to save the person. And there was another one with a very similar plot.
Yes.
Right. So I was like, Hallie, what are you doing there, girl? But you cash that check, Hallie. Cash that check. So, no more awards for you anymore, but cash that check.
The setup for this movie, it actually takes place right after the second one, but the idea is that he violates a rule, and now he's kind of
He's on
fighting the people that he was working with.
So the third one happens after the first one.
No.
After the
After the second one. Sorry.
Okay.
Immediately after the second one ends is where this one picks
Gotcha.
up.
Okay.
So they're
Cool.
highly recommend it, and we'll have a movie
I've not
night.
heard anyone say that they didn't like it.
Yeah, it's and
Yeah,
I
we need to have a movie.
and
night
I want to
first,
thank
too.
Jay Hickson for turning me on to the movies. Jay is king of recommending things to me that I at first give a side eye to, and I always love. So Hamilton, John Wick, some other few things.
So one last thing I want to say about this, as somebody who really is a big fan of like kung fu movies, I always get annoyed when they bring guns into like a kung fu movie. 'Cause I'm like, nobody knows how to do it. They actually did it well with
Right.
these movies, mixing guns and fighting in a way that it's not cheesy or ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yes, and some real great camera work in it.
Oh yeah,
It's
the
just-
scenery, the shots are beautifully done. I don't even know who does the movies, but I think Keanu Reeves doesn't direct them, but I think he had a part in writing.
I'll look it up. Y'all keep
Look it up.
talking.
Yeah.
So we're talking about movies. So as we're getting ready for Avengers Endgame, we're gonna introduce ourselves with also saying our favorite Avenger from the movies, and that has to be hero Avengers. So mine is Captain America, because
You gotta
one.
introduce yourself.
I'll do that then. Mine is Captain America. One, because he's just so ridiculously gorgeous, and I just love his muscles. And the character is so great because he went from being, kind of a goody two shoes type hero in his first movie, to this really seasoned. I've seen the worst of things. I have an edge, but at the core, I am still a good guy. I have this unwavering ethic, and I just really appreciate that. And I'm Mark. Thanks. I'm going for you.
Oh, hey, here we go. I'm Lucas. My favorite character is Rocket Raccoon, just because he cracks me up.
I'm Travis. Oh, are you done?
No, I was just going to say it was not as deep as Mark's, this whole...
Not a lot to it, right? It's
explanation. It's just fun.
Yeah, so I'm Travis. My character is Thor. And I think what's interesting about Thor is, aside from Captain America, I think he's the only one who's actually lived through like all the people he loves dying. Well, Captain America actually has Bucky still, but his dad died, his mom died, his brother died. I mean,
Agent Carter died.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
Agent Carter was amazing.
So yeah, that's it.
Cool. I'm Derek. I think I have more than one, but the one that I've chosen is Spider-Man. And not the first two Spider-Man, although I did like the second one. But this current Spider-Man, I think, is the perfect blend of what Spider-Man should be, which is young and fun, and I just think he's great.
I think he's the right Spider-Man for everything. So,
Yeah.
what about you, man behind the computer?
Hey, I'm Rashad, and I like Ant-Man because he's gonna crawl up Thanos' butt and kill him.
Yes, that's
That
so
better be an
insane.
alternate ending. I'm
Right?
sorry.
Would that be
So who did
amazing?
you want? What did you want to know about John Wick? Going back,
Who directed it?
So the director was Chad Stahelski and David Leitch, and the writer was Derek
Is
Kolstad.
that a cat?
Yeah,
Okay.
he's back there.
Ah.
So I guess Keanu Reeves didn't write, but he is doing a Bill and Ted 3.
Which I never
Yeah.
saw any of the Bill and Ted.
Oh,
Really?
I just didn't. I missed that
man,
part.
yeah.
Oh my
Even
God.
I've seen those, and those were like right when I was born.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And on that note,
Yeah,
I'm
we-
excited on, yeah.
We pick on him because he's the youngest in the group.
And I pick on them because they're old. So
We're old.
It makes sense.
We're seasoned,
Wow.
like MSG. Okay, so we're gonna start with movies.
Yay, movies.
I know, right? Okay, so let's start with Lucas.
hmm
Do you have any movie stuff?
I was trying to think. I feel like there's something that came out recently that I was really excited about, other than Bill and Ted.
What did you think of Star?
Sorry, I didn't mean to steal your Bill and Ted
Captain
thing.
Marvel.
Captain Marvel was awesome. Yeah, are we talking about... Oh, I thought we were talking about upcoming movies.
Oh, or any movie you recently saw?
So yeah, Captain Marvel was awesome. I loved it.
Yes.
So,
Because last time we didn't
But
talk
we-
much about it because
yeah,
of
we didn't talk
spoilers,
much about
but
it.
that's been several weeks, so
yeah.
You
So,
know,
I
you haven't
enjoyed
seen
I
it
think
yet,
it's a
you're
good
not.
So if you
solid-
haven't seen it, spoiler
spoiler
alert.
alert.
We're about to talk about Captain Marvel.
yeah, if you haven't seen it, it's on you. So
Yeah, I mean it's been out long enough. Sorry.
Yeah.
yeah.
There we go.
Ah!
Spoiler
Oh,
alert.
it was short this time. That thing was giving me palpitations.
I thought it was a good. I think it's a good, solid addition to the Marvel universe. A good kind of origin story.
Mhm.
So I liked, kind of seeing Nick Fury and Coulson kind of back, in the day. So kind of starting, Coulson just starting out. Well, that's another thing when we talk about TV. But we talk about the new Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Has it started back yet?
No, it starts back in May, but they just released a clip at WonderCon.
Okay, cool.
So
I'm looking forward to that.
yeah, but I enjoyed it. The only, we were talking about this last week. So I'm not sure how I feel about the whole Skrulls being kind of the sympathetic.
Yeah.
But here's the thing about it. I thought about
here.
that. What if? Because remember, this is set in the 80s.
Yeah.
90s.
But 90s.
90s.
So by the time we get to present day, a faction of the Skrulls could be just as terrorist as anything. Because
I mean, that's
that's how
possible,
things
yeah.
happen. We bomb
Well,
people and they become terrorists.
Yeah, I agree with that because not all of the Kree are bad. I mean, look, there's
Mhm.
Marvel, then there's
Right.
Jan Rock. So I mean,
Yeah.
it could be that there's a.
Oh no, yeah, and I'm interested to see where they go with it. But because I was like, that was the whole thing about the Skrulls. I was assuming we're being set up as the big bad, and then it kind of just flipped on its head, and I was like,
I actually kind of liked that they
Okay.
did that.
Me too.
I mean, I'm not saying I disliked it. I was just like, oh, huh.
You're
know.
so
Not expected.
I was not expecting it, and it's just, it was interesting. So,
Well, I saw Us, which
Yeah.
was absolutely awesome.
don't spoil it too much.
I won't spoil it. So his movies are Jordan Peele. His movies are labeled as horror movies, but they're not really horror movies. They're closer to thrillers, but they're really kind of I don't know. It's kind of the horror is that he's taking real life things and turning them, like issues, and wrapping them in kind of a horror-esque, wrapper.
Mhm.
Like it could be true type of thing.
Yeah, and just kind of pointing out some deep dark ill of American society.
Mhm.
See,
And
all the trailers look like horror movies to me, so I don't go see them because I'm not into scary movies.
It's really not. It's
Yeah, same
funnier than it is scary. And
So how many times does something jump out at somebody on camera?
less than in Get Out. Get Out was to me scarier as far as like that type of
Well,
horror.
I haven't seen that one either.
But-
if it happens more than once in a movie, it's usually too many for me.
But it really is, there's a couple of murders in it, but again, it's nothing insane, as far as that. But the thing about it is so cool, like, because there's been lots of chatter online because the story of it isn't as clear cut as the story in Get Out, and you're kind of left at the end going, "Ooh, what's going on there?" Which I like because it gives me opportunity to continue to kind of mull over it and find clues and
So
discuss
do you mean
it.
do you mean there was no resolution at the end? or-
There's a resolution, but it's just not as clear cut and satisfying as the first one.
Is he up on the?
He's on the chair.
Yep, there's the cat on the chair. Juggy. So anyway, I just highly recommend it. And even if you don't love horror movies, it's just cinematography is beautiful, and the acting. Lupita was fantastic. So there's my recommendation of Us, since it's not a full-on review. And of course, John Wick was Travis's pick.
You already saw mine.
Yay! Derek, any upcoming movies or recent movies for you?
So I would like to. I hope I'm not taking somebody's thunder here. Is anyone talking about Shazam?
Nope.
No, we hadn't talked about
Oh,
Shazam.
no.
Okay, well, so when Shazam, the talk about Shazam
Are
first.
you going with a spoiler here, or is that yet?
No, it's not.
No,
out
it's
yet.
not.
It's
Okay,
out
so
this
that- yeah,
weekend.
it's
Okay,
getting
sorry.
reviews from
So-
previews, though.
Yeah, so when it first came out that they were going to make a movie about Shazam, I was like, oh no, because I just didn't feel like it was good enough material. But I've been burned before with that. I felt the same thing happened with Guardians of the Galaxy. I thought, oh crap, and then it turned out to be incredible. Well, so now all of the talk, the scuttlebutt leading up to the release of this movie is such that they're talking like it's the best thing that's come out since Wonder Woman. Now that may be just the DC universe.
Sure.
But all of the trailers that I've watched look absolutely fun.
Yep.
They look endearing all at the same time. You know, like he is big like an adult, and I've always liked him ever since he was on that TV show. What was the name of it? Where he was a spy.
Oh, you're talking about Chuck?
Chuck.
Yeah.
When he was on Chuck, he's a grown person, but he acts like a kid, and so which is perfect for Shazam, or Captain Marvel Part 2, as I like to call it. But so I'm looking forward to that actually.
I am too, and I read an article today about the Joker movie coming out.
There's supposed to be a clip tomorrow.
And
Poster came out today.
Yeah, the poster came out today, and
Is it Jared Leto?
No, it's
No, it's-
Joaquin Phoenix.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's
Joaquin
that
Phoenix.
one. Wow.
Oh, I am
And-
excited about that.
and the thing they pointed out was that the DC's new thing, instead of going with an extended universe like they first tried to do under Snyder, is each movie is going to be kind of like director dependent, standalone, so that a Shazam movie can be lighthearted and fun, and be kind of tied to the Wonder Woman, Superman movies, whereas this Joker movie can be dark, R-rated, its own thing, and then this Joaquin version of Joker won't cross over to the others. So,
Well, just
So it's
on the
gonna be like
surface of
a,
it,
it's gonna be like a what if story then, huh?
I
Or
don't.
is it?
I think they're just saying we're telling different stories and not tying it to one universe.
It looked more like an origin story for him.
It's an origin story.
It's how he becomes this crazed like lunatic that wants
Joker Earth 1.
Right, but it's not going to be tied to, say, the Batman, which is coming out later. It's not going to be connected to that universe at all. Which isn't, it's an interesting way to go. If they can come out with good movies, then, so be it. I wish they could have, done an extended universe so that the movies was one universe, the CW shows was one universe, and the DC app was another universe. But they lost it somewhere in there.
so are they going to reboot Bootman?
They're going to do another Batman.
The story of
awesome.
Batman.
I love it. They're going to do a new Batman movie. They haven't cast it yet, but it's going to be told. It's going to be a past movie from when he was younger, and it's going to be more a detective story. So all the other movies have been kind of like origin movies as part of a group, and this one's going to be he's established, but it's going to be about him solving a crime because he's the world's greatest detective, and that hasn't come out in any of his movies. His movies all have been about fighting,
Being a
thing.
vigilante.
Right. So it should be interesting. I'm still sad because Ben Affleck is my favorite Batman, so I'm sad to see him not as part of it. And I thought he worked so well with the Superman Wonder Woman that we have cast. So that's that. All right. So we talked. Speaking of the different universes, let's go to TV now.
Can I start?
Sure.
How many of you guys have watched Twilight Zone? I know it's only been one day.
I haven't yet.
Haven't had time.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna spoil anything, but I am a big fan.
Awesome.
The first episode, so the biggest complaint my wife had because she watched them with me is she said they feel really slow to her, and I had to remind her, back in the day, the Twilight Zone was like a 23-minute of a story, right? Because you had commercials and it was on TV. It was like 30 minutes long. This is like almost, I think one's like 55 minutes, one's like 40 minutes. They did do a double feature, in case y'all are wondering. So there's 2 episodes out right now. And yeah, it is a little bit slow at first, but I think the development of the story is good enough that the slow pace to it was worth it.
So each story is its own separate story.
They're all
just like
separate.
The old Twilight
They're
Zone?
all separate. Jordan Peele does the intro and the exit, just like Rod Serling used to do. I think he did a great job with it. I'm really liking what he has. And the second episode, I thought the second episode by far was my favorite so far, because they kind of do a callback to the old William Shatner movie, or the old William Shatner episode on the plane and the thing on the wing. So it's a really good story, and I highly recommend it. If you haven't seen it yet, go check it out.
I'm looking forward to it because I've always been a fan of the Twilight Zone. It's some of the scariest, TV.
Now, see, that to me isn't. Yes, it's kind of scary, but it's not like jump out at you scary, which is what I like. It's a thriller.
Yeah.
It keeps you on the edge of your seat.
Well, again, to me, scary is more than just being startled.
No.
You know, because like one of the scariest episodes of Twilight Zone was the one that had Ron Howard, where he was the little boy
Oh,
and
yeah.
had the powers to just get rid of people.
Yeah.
That to me is scary. That is
Yeah.
much scarier than someone that I can run from that's got a big knife or whatever. So
I
yeah,
don't remember that one.
it was great. You should go back and watch it.
Little kid, I want to wish you into the cornfield. It was like one of the most famous Twilight.
I didn't really watch.
So yeah, it was really famous because
And
it's Opie,
The
being like
airplane one is the one that I'm familiar
super
with.
bad
Yeah.
guy. So
yeah, that's probably the most famous one. But they do have, so it's a different cast every episode and everything. They did do kind of a preview of what's coming up in the season. There were a lot of big name actors, and I'm totally blanking on every single one of them.
I mean,
but
even from the trailer, there were a lot of big name actors,
yeah,
teased.
So
I don't know that I've actually seen a trailer for it. I think I have only seen like the teaser.
Oh man.
Well,
yeah.
it's on.
Well, I mean, it was the one that they would show during Discovery. Is the one I'm talking
the
about.
one with the plane. And
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, that's a
wasn't
teaser
much,
to me.
It wasn't
They're
much. Yeah, it wasn't
they're
much.
all
of a trailer.
teasers.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so that's on CBS All
CBS
Access
All Access
with our other favorite Discovery, which is still
Discovery.
knocking it out of the park.
Are we caught up?
Always.
I'm caught up. Is everyone caught up?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we watch it
Yeah.
as it
Okay.
happens.
I watch it as soon as
We
it
don't
comes
know if
out.
they're all
Spoiler
caught up.
alert!
Wait for the noise.
Noise took too long. Go
Okay.
for it.
All right.
Alright, so okay.
There we go.
And it's a Star Trek noise, which I don't mind.
Yeah.
All right.
Alright, so what do y'all think? I mean, okay, so this week, I don't know what I think about this week's.
Are we talking about Star Trek?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Okay.
seemed like it seemed like I watched the whole episode and not a lot happened, but then I feel like a whole bunch happened. I'm not really sure how I feel about
I
it.
Well,
think
it was emotional.
Yeah.
The big thing happening was the control taking control basically.
Right.
Yeah, I thought a lot happened, but maybe I don't know.
Well, they think they have had a small victory,
Mm-hmm.
but there's still stuff they don't know.
Oh no.
And that's always, when the audience knows something that the characters don't
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
that makes it kind of interesting.
So I would say I was a little bit unsatisfied with the whole reunion between Michael and her mom because I felt like they spent quite a bit of time with her trying to argue for being down there and she needs to see her, and then when they met it was very you don't know what you're talking about kind of I need to go like.
Well, and I think I
I
get that though, because I think it needed to be that way. I don't think it needed to be like this all,
I missed you
I
and blah,
missed
blah,
you
blah.
so much, and I missed you, and we'll hug each other, and it'll be, I mean, her mom has been through some shit.
Oh yeah.
She has watched her die countless times. I mean, you have to become disconnected at that point, and just focus on the mission.
Plus,
because-
she's lived by herself, which also affects you
yeah,
mentally.
exactly. Yeah, so she is messed up. So while I would have liked that they would have had a nicer, like a nicer reunion, I want, and it was jarring at first to me, but then I was like, no, it really makes sense because she's been through so much that
she kind of has to disconnect, right?
She has to disconnect because otherwise, she's focused on the mission. Otherwise, she's stuck in the future, 950 years in the future, and
where everyone else is
with
dead.
no one,
Yeah.
by herself.
Another thing that I enjoyed about the episode was the doctor actually doing a thing instead of just being angry.
Yeah,
Because I was like rearing at him.
Yeah.
I was like, "You've been brought back to life. I need you to get a grip."
Well,
I am glad he's
that's
kind
another thing too. Is you got some PTSD, so I'm glad he finally went to the admiral and was like, "Hey, I need to talk to somebody about this," instead of being angry all the time.
Right. And also like the admiral because she's been really gray throughout this, series.
Yeah.
And so I kind of like seeing a softer, warmer side to her.
Yeah.
That was still very real.
Yeah.
So-
Really glad that old dude got stabbed because he needed something to kind of make him. Because he was on my nerves. I was like, good.
Yeah. I don't get that, but because I do like him, but everybody has a thing. But I will say this, to your gray point, what I really, really am loving about this show, there's a lot, but one of the things that I'm really loving is they are able to take a character that you're really not supposed to like, maybe, and then you wind up liking them.
Yeah.
as an example, I mean, the most obvious example is the Emperor.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you're not really supposed to like her,
Right.
really.
Not really.
I mean, she was a pretty bad person.
She was
right?
totally bad.
Yeah.
Totally bad, and then so now she finds herself in a different world.
Mm-hmm.
She is
Adapting.
and
Well, we think
Well-
she's adapted.
well, she's
I think it's true to her character.
I think she is. And
Yeah,
She is a
but,
survivor.
but think about what the mom
and
said.
she go ahead.
The mom said, "You're better than you think," or something along those
Yeah,
lines.
because she's seen her a million times too,
Right.
right?
She
Yeah.
I mean,
trusts her to take care of Michael, and then she did in the end.
Yeah.
Make a move that I don't think was as self-serving as she usually tries to be, or
Right.
or that she usually is.
Yeah.
right.
I think there's potential for her to redeem, and then you got to nurture
Yep.
versus nature kind
And
of thing.
yeah.
going on.
So, and they do that with a lot of the characters. It's
Mhm.
not just her,
Yeah.
right? I mean, there is Ash who you don't like, but I mean, there are other
I
characters
don't, I, mean,
that
I don't not like him, but I mean he.
No, I meant
is,
Mark.
You know. Oh yeah. Mark,
Yeah,
you
I don't
don't
like
him.
Ash. Yeah,
that's
he
right.
gets on my nerves.
Yeah. Oh well.
Yeah.
I
It's all
think.
good. But yeah.
But yeah.
Love and Discovery.
Um, This, I think 2 weeks ago, season finale of Black Lightning.
We're caught up.
It's the only CW show I still watch, and I freaking loved it. I'm a real fan of
You
Black.
still watch Charmed.
Well, CW
Arrowverse.
series.
Oh.
Arrowverse shows.
All right.
Even though it's not really in the Arrowverse, all the blah 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 blah
Right.
blah. So yeah, big fan. I really love the interaction between the sisters, and I think their dialogue is always so authentic as two empowered young black women. It doesn't. Their superpowers and superheroing isn't so full of bravado like it is on the CW shows, on the other CW superhero shows. They always seem like, to me, really real people.
Well, they're learning too.
Yeah. And I just loved how Jennifer became such a badass in the last episode when she was making some really poor choices. And then she turned it around and got smart. So that's a big fan. And then I'm really curious to see what next season's going to bring.
Spoiler alert.
You know, for for Jennifer. I'm not for Jennifer. For what's the older sister's name?
Anissa.
Anissa. For Anissa finding her girlfriend. Blah 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 blah. I think that's all kind of interesting. And they're gonna, I think, blow the universe wide open because you've got all these extra metahumans. I think are gonna start coming out of the woodwork. So I'm
Well,
looking
I
forward to
found it interesting that they're weaving in Markovia.
Markovia, yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. So I'm just really pleased with how they're running that. And then they also over on DCU or DCEU the app, they released the image of Stargirl's new costume.
Yeah.
And
We're gonna watch. We're gonna see it.
yeah, we have an image of that
Yeah,
right
hold
now.
up.
And the cool
Cool.
thing
Sit down.
is that
Sit down.
it's very comic accurate, which
Yeah,
is
it
different
is.
from the CW shows. You know, those were very. Oh, there she is. She looks great. The CW shows were very. Let's try and make these costumes grounded in the real world, and and I just got tired of it. This is, they're owning these bright colors, but yet it's more like kind of what the Marvel things are doing. So this will be in the same universe as the Titans and Doom Patrol and things like that. So
Scroll down, see if there's a bigger picture.
I don't know if it's
I've
there,
seen
but there is somewhere.
There is
because
a
I've
bigger
seen it.
picture of it. Like
There
there
it
you
is.
go.
yeah, so and of course this costume is indicative of when it was created with the bare midriff. That was everyone was doing a Britney Spears type of thing. She had one. Wonder Girl, Cassie, Wonder Girl had a bare midriff. Huntress, she had a really stupid one. I was like, y'all are all gonna get stabbed in the stomach.
So I have a question about this. Does anyone know? Is this going to be set in the present or in the past?
Present, as far as I know. Why'd you think past?
Well, I thought she was part of the Justice Society, which was in the past.
She was part of the modern day Justice Society, not the past. So so in the past it was Star Spangled Kid, who is like her uncle, I think, and then Star Man is where she got the staff from. So they kind of passed on the legacy of their characters to her, and she was part of the new Justice Society where it was still some of the old members and then a handful of new ones.
Okay.
None of whom exist in current DC continuity, but hopefully after Doomsday Clock gets done, they'll be back. So,
If it ever finishes.
right. And then my last TV thing would be, well, no, that's not right. So still in this universe, we've got an actor who is deaf, trans, Jewish, a person of color, cast as Jericho in the Titans. So
Chalaman.
Yeah, so that's pretty badass.
Yeah, pretty badass.
You know, I first I need to say that I don't buy into kind of this new attitude that you have to cast a person as the same thing that they are in real life, because there was a point where
because he was a blonde white boy.
Right, in the
comic.
There's some people that say if it's a trans actor or a gay actor, you need to cast a gay actor or a trans. If it's a gay character or a trans character, you need to cast a gay or trans actor, and I don't believe that.
It's called acting for a reason.
It's called acting for a reason. However, if an opportunity comes that someone is part of these other all these different communities, I think that's great, because we all need more work. More people of color need more work. And so this person checks off all these boxes. And Jericho is again such an interesting character with a crazy history. And so I'm really curious to see what he's going to be like in
that
Titans season
outfit.
2.
Are you guys seeing this? I don't know. Are they seeing it? That is nothing like the costume that he had.
Well,
of course, it was
you're
really
still thinking
crazy.
the old Jericho with the big billowy sleeves.
Yeah.
And he's had several
Purple
costumes
and
since
yellow
then.
and
that was before he was killed the first time.
Oh, okay.
And then when they rebooted it,
he looked like that.
He looks like this. And also they changed. There's been things tweaked in his origin. He was kind of bad at one point too. The original Jericho was a 100%
really
good guy. And yeah, I mean he was he was a total hero. He was a good guy. He was a bit of a womanizer, but otherwise he was a good guy. But in the reboot, he kind of sided with his dad Deathstroke a time or two. He also was bisexual in the reboot, so I think that was another twist. And he also had a relationship with his sister Ravager in the reboot, which of course they didn't cross paths, originally.
And by relationship, do you mean?
No, not that kind. Just
I'm like, okay,
they were partners,
that is out there.
Partners in crime kind of relationship. So, and then I'll finish with Love, Death, and Robots. So we watched a few episodes of that the other night.
I watched a few last night.
Are we gonna watch a few today?
No, because unfortunately, if you watch too long, it's copyright infringement. But I know. But oh my goodness!
I will say I watched The Witness and I watched Good Hunting because y'all kept talking about those two.
So what'd you think of those two?
Those were they're really good. Now I haven't seen the whole thing to know how they compare to the others, but I'm kind of afraid that I've started out with the best ones though, because y'all talked about them so much, and now it's going to be like downhill from there.
No, most of it just like Chris. And hey, Chris, we're sorry that you're here with us tonight.
Hey, Chris,
you're feeling under the weather, but rest up and
hopefully
get strong.
you're watching.
We're going to talk about for you House of X and Power of 10, and how weird it is that Marvel wants to name stuff like that. But just like Chris said, most of them are good, like the ones you saw, and only a few are just kind of like suspect.
Yeah.
If you want to go back to the medium, just go watch the yogurt one.
Yeah,
it'll pull your expectations down enough that the rest will be somewhat
I
good.
keep talking about that one, and I saw the title, and I was like, "Oh, that says yogurt. That must be the one they're talking about."
Yogurt's horrible.
All right, so that may like bring the average down.
It will, yes, it will bring it down.
But I bet you there's like a fan base for yogurt. There's some sort of,
there's going to be a cult following that's going to pop up on Facebook.
Do you remember watching that?
No.
What?
Do you remember watching that?
Watching what?
Watching what?
Love, Death, and Robots?
Oh, yeah, I remember watching it. Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah. I don't think he did, because I think he was asleep.
You
by
were
that
like
point.
completely passed out by the time we saw it.
Yeah.
What were the episodes about?
Love.
All right, let's go.
One was dead.
Robots.
I think there was a robot in two.
All right. So anybody? Okay.
So that's it for that for me.
All right. So
you have anything, Derek? TV show
We're
wise?
still TV.
Oh, TV show wise?
Yeah, we're still on TV.
Not that we've not talked about.
Okay.
Doom Patrol we've talked about. Still liking it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. Can you pull up the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Hold on,
clip?
real fast. There was the announcement. they are renewing the season for.
Oh, Umbrella Academy.
Umbrella
Oh
Academy.
yeah.
Oh, and I guess I could
Umbrella
say that
Academy
this
is-
week,
yeah, season 2.
TV wise, this week, Sabrina is back on the 5th.
Oh,
Yeah.
Loving some Sabrina. Oh, and speaking of witches, Charmed is still, rocking.
I'm really behind on it.
You need to catch up, man, because there's been some twists and turns. Woo!
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, see, I think I watched the first 2 or 3 and said, "This is garbage. I don't want to watch this anymore."
It was
Yeah.
it was
A lot of
literally
people like
garbage
pretty
in the
much.
second half
Well,
of the season.
Is there an episode I could just pick it up and start from there? Just
I don't think you'll
not
really know all the
really,
characters and the backstory.
And
Just-
plus, it got really good at the end of the season. By the end of
Yes.
season 1, it got
Into
good.
season 1, yes. It's about
It's
halfway.
halfway
It's like
through.
13. It's like 26 episodes or 22 is the first season. So between 11 and 12 episodes in is when it finally kind of turns the corner. And from then on out, it's just
It's gone straight
it's
up.
gone straight
and
up
each
every
season gets better and better and better and better. And it's just so strong.
So,
I hear
but,
a lot of great things about it. I mean,
yeah.
it seems like I should be watching.
But I know lots of people that gave up on it. And
Yeah.
the only reason probably I didn't is that at the time we weren't, so full of shows.
Mhm.
Now there's just so much
See,
content.
that's my problem. Is I'm starting a new show almost every
I
week. It
know.
seems like.
But so apparently there are a bunch of Easter eggs in this picture here, this promotional picture. So it'll be interesting to figure out as we watch the season what's in there that we haven't seen, that we don't know. So
So is this like a Last Supper
what is this?
motif?
Yeah.
it is
Is that
kind
what
of a
this is?
Last Supper motif, and I don't know if it's like a
Are they
like a
playing
crafts table or
Looks
if it's a like some sort of map of like a battle that they're kind of looking at, or I don't know.
Can you make it a little bit bigger?
It's really it's
Enhance.
interesting.
So
Enhance.
Yeah.
Enhance.
who is that? The son slash
So
whatever
that's
from
the
future?
that's the son, and then
Grandson.
Yeah, grandson.
Sorry, grandson.
And then Simmons, Fitz, Quake,
Quake.
Mac, Yo-Yo, and then Coulson's in the back, and May right there. So yeah.
So I read somewhere that it's not the real Coulson. It is definitely a different
Yeah.
something.
Yeah,
that's
I mean
fair,
it's
too.
Some sort of
something. I don't
Clone,
know.
doppelganger,
I mean, yeah.
alternative Earth. We don't know.
It's
Scroll?
yeah.
Scroll
Scroll.
could be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
could be.
So it's gonna be something different, and so that'll be curious to see what the deal is.
But yeah, that's
Life model decoy.
Hopefully they won't.
They-
I hope they won't go back to that because they did that one pretty well. And
Yeah,
They
that
already
one's
done
pretty
it.
much
They
done. I
just
think.
should let that lie.
So I'm excited for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And then other stuff. I'm watching The Orville. Does anybody else watch The Orville? Have we talked about it?
No,
We've talked about
I
it.
think Jay and Nora do.
My dad
I
loves
like
that
The
show.
Orville. I really
I've seen the
do.
first couple.
I've heard it's good.
I enjoy it. It's. I don't know. I just enjoy it. It's very Star Trek: The Next Generation esque in where it's very character driven, and they try to tackle the kind of modern sometimes it's a little too modern, a little too on the nose for me because Next Generation was very timeless. I mean, you can go back and watch those now, and you're thinking, man, some of those things are still like happening. It's these timeless, human condition type issues,
Right.
But they've had a couple that that are really good, kind of timeless things. There was one of the most recent ones I thought was going to be really. Watching the beginning of it, I thought, okay, well, this is going to be like a throwaway. Like, this is kind of a weak episode. But then by the end of it, they really turned it around with, like, the, kind of looking at this, kind of thing and the, kind of this human condition problem. And I was like, oh, that's really good. So, yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'll watch it.
I've heard only good things about it.
Yeah.
But again, like you
So-
said, too much TV.
Yeah.
Way too much stuff.
But that's all the TV.
There's too much, and
No,
we
it's,
cut out a lot of TV.
Seth
so-
MacFarlane's so
you know?
great. I mean, I
Yeah.
do want to watch his stuff. I just haven't gotten to it.
And then Into the Badlands. I'm enjoying Into the Badlands.
Yes. How many? They've only done two episodes.
They have
right?
done 2 episodes. No.
Or was there another one that dropped?
Two episodes of season 3. The third one dropped today. Well, I
Okay.
got it today on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, so we watched the first two over the weekend. Me and my wife both love that. Again, I'm a
Yeah.
big kung fu fan, so watching
Yeah.
that show, it's like watching a kung fu movie every week. It's
Oh yeah.
awesome. I love
well, that's
it.
the thing I've said before about it is the fights in Into the Badlands are what Iron Fist should have been. Like I'm just it just totally should have been.
But don't forget about the acting in Iron Fist. That was so bad.
Well, it was. So
you can't get past Danny Bland.
I know. Well, then Iron Fist should have just been Into the Badlands. They should have just taken everything, the good acting and all that, and then just moved it there.
So
I hope it's not going to be rushed, though. I feel like this last half, because it's been canceled. They haven't picked it up, and they're trying to finish up this story. So
Into the Badlands? Oh, I didn't know that.
I didn't know it got canceled.
yeah, it's
So this isn't a new season.
just-
This is the end.
second half of the third season,
Yeah.
and it is the final season. And it's been plagued with problems from the beginning. AMC, I don't think really pushed it too hard. They were hoping that it could just kind of ride the coattails of The Walking Dead, and it did for a little while. But then, because of that, because they didn't push it on its own, and they just tried to let it ride the coattails. Then once Walking Dead finished and Badlands was still going, then it completely suffered. But I think it's a really good show, and it's kind of, I think that they're kind of working toward giving it a somewhat satisfying ending. But I really wish we could have gotten more seasons to explore the world, or explore the past, what happened before, things like that. So
Yeah, I think the direction they're going in is really good with the whole Azra, stuff and bringing that in. But I don't know, it's completely shifted from the whole, these are all the different houses and the barons to now there's this new superpower that everybody's like, what the hell do we do with these guys?
It's just the big bad, and
and you kind of. I don't know about you, but at some points I feel sorry for the people that are in like the Azra group, because I'm like, these people really believe this stuff, and I kind of want them to like do good, but they're just dicks to everybody,
Right.
And I'm like, you keep talking about peace, but you're just jerks to everyone. Like, what are you talking about?
Well, and I think that this is going way into spoiler land, I guess. If we're talking about this season, but so it's interesting. I think that they're setting up, what ways that the gift ways that the gift is used, because you've got the master. Whenever she uses her gift, she doesn't. Her eyes don't go black; they glisten gold. Yeah. So it's like
there's different sides of this dark
I don't know if they're
power.
going with some sort of yin yang type thing with this power, or that if depending on how it's used, if it's light or dark, So there's a lot of, but that's one thing it has struggled from. I think is whether it wanted to explore this current world, like you said, explore the whole Baron structure and have all that kind of plot going on, but then all of a sudden, it's like in the middle of season 2, all of a sudden we brought in Azra and the past, and we start getting these ideas of what happened then, and so they've kind of struggled between. Okay, do we tell the story now, or do we tell the story and kind of fill in the blanks of back then? So,
I think what's also interesting is they have this whole like system now, but there's hints of like modern day stuff that they've run into. Like they'll find like an old mall full of like mannequins and stuff, and you're like,
well, and then they're like,
that's the world.
Right now,
yeah, they're in a museum, and they're
so,
like, that's the world long since past kind of stuff.
Right.
So this is all like
forever
super
ago.
future. That like modern day society thrived at one point, and now they've kind of done something and killed themselves off, and they've gone backward.
Yeah, it seems like that. They kind of raised up to this pinnacle, and then something happened, and then like war, it erupted and kind of split into these and they kind of talk about that a little in the first season, just briefly.
Yeah.
But and so there was kind of this uneasy truce between all these barons, and they each kind of just took sections of land, so that's kind of where you begin in season 1. But it's been.
That makes me want to watch Thunder the Barbarian.
Thunder the Barbarian.
When you talk about old malls and the future, I'm like, memories.
Well, there was something TV related that I was going to talk about, but I didn't remember till just now, and that was that trailer for Nosferatu.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Y'all
Yeah.
heard about
Yeah,
that?
yeah, we
We
saw that
watched
the
it
other
the other
night,
night.
We
Yeah.
watched it.
and
I know that they weren't there.
oh
No,
oh, we're
yes.
acting.
Wow.
Have
What
you
is this
watched this?
Nosferatu?
No, I have not
Do
watched it.
they
Let's
spell it
look
with a
that
4?
up.
We've done a lot of this
didn't
already,
watch it
but
the
I-
other night. You totally just told us about it.
Hey.
Wow.
Hey Brooks, thanks for hosting the other night.
Yeah.
Great pizza.
So yeah, the Nosferatu is weird because it's a vampire thing, but they aren't. It's not your typical, and it's got this whole
Neverland?
Never-
Creepy Neverland?
It's creepy kid
Yeah.
Neverland thing, and
So I'm reading just the Wikipedia from the book because it's based on a book.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the third novel by American author Joe Hill,
Okay.
which is Stephen King's son,
which
right?
is Stephen
Oh,
King's
that's
son.
right. Yeah, I remember.
Published in April of 2013 focuses on a woman trying to save her son from a vicious supernatural killer who has set his sights on him. So it's really actually nothing to do
With vampires.
with vampires.
So,
Or at least it sounds like
Or,
it
well,
from
he's
that.
well, she's
supernatural,
supernatural,
so-
so maybe it's just not calling it that to try and give it a little
Yeah,
different.
it
you know?
could, yeah.
Well, and it seemed in the we were watching the trailer. It's not. I mean, it is kind of vampire-esque in where he's
Their teeth
immortal.
look like it, yeah.
Yeah, he's immortal, and he is taking life energy. I mean, he's keeping himself young by feeding off the energy of the children and keeping them in this entrapped.
Wow,
in
you
this
got way
certain-
more out of that trailer than I did.
Yeah,
Really?
I wasn't
You
really-
didn't pick up on all that?
I picked up on all that.
Yeah. Because he was sitting in the car with him with the little boy, and then the boy was transforming because he was like, yeah. It totally happened.
That's
I believe you. I
hilarious.
just didn't get any of that.
Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, it was interesting. But all right, so now,
So, I think it's
we moving on from TV.
Yeah, it's time to we're gonna close out with comics and Travi, why don't you lead the way? Do you like how I nicknamed you Travi tonight?
That's fine. I don't care.
So you were doing some recommendations from Lawson, right? In some of the books you were reading?
No.
Oh, did I dream that up?
Yeah.
Okay, well, tell me what you're talking about.
I don't-
But
No, Lawson.
not
so,
any of these that
so-
he's talking about.
Yeah,
There's
so
like
Chris
some
recommended-
some other things.
Yeah,
that
Chris
he's talking
recommended
about.
like 4 or 5 different comics that I've bought and I've been reading, but I think a lot of them are pretty
They're
old.
trades
and
and
I
stuff,
haven't
right?
really read through a whole lot of them yet, so I really wanted to get more into them first. I'm actually focusing on Conan the Barbarian.
Talk
this week.
about it.
So Marvel just bought the rights back to Conan the Barbarian, so they are starting 3 different series on Conan, which sounds like a lot, but I
So
like
they're doing 3 different series about Conan? Is that what you just said?
3 different comics.
Huh.
Yeah, so the first one is Jason Aaron.
Well, go
Oh,
to Marvel.
Jason Aaron.
It's
Because you guys love him, right?
I really like him, so I've been reading his Thor run, and that was one that Chris recommended I go back and start from the beginning, because I started the new one that just came out, and he's like, no, that story's been going for a while now, because they renumber it every so often. So I restarted it, and this one, it has that same feel as that story. So there's kind of like different timelines that he kind of jumps back and forth to, like modern day Conan and Conan as an older man. The one that he's doing, I think, is the main one right now, and each story is very loosely connected, so that you can read just about any one that's come out and not be confused by a lot, because they're kind of their own stories. These are the different other ones.
Gotcha.
Savage Sword of Conan, and what's the other one?
There's Savage Sword, and there's Age of Conan Belit, which is about the pirate queen that he eventually
one he loves.
falls in love with. Yeah.
Yeah, he and she are actually in the Avengers comic that I'm reading.
He is. I don't think she's. Has she come out in that? He mentions her in it.
Oh,
Which
she's
one?
in there.
I just finished reading it. Literally.
We'll have to talk
The
later
last,
about it.
yeah, the
very
last,
I thought
the very
I'm
last
caught up
page,
with.
she's there.
Maybe you're not.
Oh,
as
is
caught
it
as
the
you
last
thought.
page? Maybe I missed something. Maybe I didn't catch it. Anyway, so this one, so each one has their own different kind of story. So this one, it has some drawbacks to the first issue, and the fact that there is a lady who's trying to sacrifice Conan, basically, which isn't much of a spoiler. You'll read that pretty quickly on. But I really like what he's doing with this one. How do you know that's her? Oh.
Because he says her name.
There we go.
Well, it's with a question mark. I didn't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
I might have missed that. But I would say the third and fourth. So one kind of common theme in the Jason Aaron one is that every issue is like Conan comes very close to dying and finds a way out of it, which isn't really much of a thing because every superhero comic does that quite often. But the way he goes about doing it, I think, is brilliant. How he plays that. The second one is Conan Savage Sword, which I like, but not quite as much as this one. This is I guess Gary Dugan. I don't know how you say it. Is it Gary or Jerry Dugan?
I'm going with Jerry.
Is it Jerry? Okay. This one, the storyline's pretty consistent from issue to issue. He's looking for a treasure. I don't think the treasure is going to be just a big pile of gold. I think there's something more to it because he's not the only one looking for the treasure. And he's got some friends he's run into along the way that are kind of helping him out. Blee is still really new. It's only got its first issue out right now. I wasn't a huge fan of the first comic, but I'm going to go read a couple more just to, not giving up too early.
So is Conan the Barbarian and Savage Sword of Conan, are they like the same timeline, or are they talking about Conan at different times of his life? I know you said this one had some flashbacks and stuff, but are they essentially the same?
So it's hard to really put into words like the timelines of where these happen in his life. I feel like they're taking place around the same time, but they're just different stories.
Yeah. Okay,
so
like you could think
Wolverine,
just different.
And he just like inhabits.
Yeah, I don't think they're ever gonna cross each other's paths. But it's funny, like both comics kind of start the exact same way, where it shows Conan like as a king sitting on a throne, almost, if I can get to the first issue. Like, both of them show Conan, like, as a king, and then it's like, but here's the story of how he got there kind of thing. So, they both kind of do a very similar thing. The one thing that really annoys me about all three of these, and I don't know who made the decision to do
Art's
this.
good, though, I think.
The art is really well done, I think, in all these that I've read. It's very good. But at the back of each one of these comics, they put in this like novella story, and I don't know why. Like they're just like three pages of like a novella, right?
Huh.
It's a completely
unrelated.
It seems unrelated so far. I haven't really read all of them because I'm like I don't want to finish reading a comic book and then have to read a chapter of another book before I get to the next comic. So.
But what if there are clues about something in there?
They're like in the future, and they're just boring. I haven't like gotten into them. I don't know, and every one of them does it. So Marvel apparently told them to do this, and they're doing it. It's just I'm not a fan of them.
Gotcha.
I would highly recommend Conan the Barbarian to anybody. If you like it, I would say Savage Sword would be a good one to pick up. Believe I would probably not recommend it yet, but. That I've only read one so far. The other two have their issue 3 and 4 out. But yeah, I'll let someone else jump. I've got one more comic, but I can let someone else take a turn before coming back.
Go ahead.
Yeah, whatever.
Okay.
We're easy.
All right.
Shift around.
The other one is called Assassination. It's from Image Comics. It's only one issue in also, but I really like the story on this one. So at the very first page, inside cover, it's got like the world's top 20 assassins in it listed. And the main story follows a guy that was once the top assassin in the world. He retired. He became like kind of the bodyguard or like the head hitman for... Head dude for like organized crime unit, and someone's trying to kill him basically. So he goes out and basically and like makes this big event and brings in all the world's top 20 assassins together and says, "I want you guys to help me find out who's trying to kill me. I'll pay you whatever your daily rate is." All this stuff, and as you can imagine, and from what the cover reveals, it doesn't go quite as planned. There's a lot of blood, gore, and guts throughout the first issue. I've been burned by Image before on comics like this, where I really loved the first issue and it went downhill very fast. The Weatherman is my prime example because I really liked the first issue and then it was just crap for the next 5 issues. But I'm hoping this one stays good. And there is another retired hitman in this one who is looking for revenge on the guy that killed his husband. So
look at him getting all modern and stuff.
yeah, and he's a black guy too.
Oh,
Yeah.
mix it up.
See?
What?
Suck, hey, baby.
And he's got a gun. I think it's called Revenge or Retribution. Oh yeah, Revenge. That's his gun.
That's funny.
So he's out looking for the murder of his husband. He's gonna go
I
kill
like
him,
that.
and he thinks it's one of these 20 assassins at the party.
And who is it by?
This
Image?
one, it's Image Comics. Kyle Starks. I don't know if y'all. He's the creator and writer.
Who's the artist?
The artist Erica Henderson.
Oh, well, that's cool to get a woman doing some art because it's such a male-dominated field. So I love.
Yeah, but I really enjoy it so far. It is kind of funny. Like every time that you see a new assassin in the comic, you always jump back to the front page and see like what their rank is because they kind of treat each other based on their rank. Like the #1 assassin comes in later in the comic and he like acts like he's this big macho.
So I wonder
guy.
if it's something that will be easily converted to a movie one day, if it gets popular, because it seems like it would be.
You could probably make a really good movie just based off of this first issue. I really thought it was good, and like I said, I'm hoping it stays good throughout. I hope it doesn't kind of peter off like some of the other ones I've read. But that's what I'm reading right now.
There you go. Cool. What about you, Mr. Man?
Well, since our friend Chris couldn't be here, I've taken over his list.
Okay.
Because we do read some of the same things and some of the things I wanted to talk about. But I think the first thing that I'd like to mention, and this is because I've actually read it. He recommended it to me, and so I read it, much like some of the ones that he's recommended to you. But some of you who may be old enough to remember some of these cartoon characters, Snagglepuss and some others. So they did a reimagining of Snagglepuss last year, or it might have been the year before, but it was called
It was last year.
Last year, it was called the Snagglepuss Chronicles, and this article in Newsarama is talking about Snagglepuss Chronicles winning the 2019 GLAAD Media Award. And so, if you haven't seen it, it's basically a reimagining of Snagglepuss as a gay pink cat in the era of
Was it like old Hollywood style era or something like that?
yes, but it was a political.
Oh,
that guy's name?
McCarthy.
Yeah, the McCarthy era.
Yeah.
I
don't know how I pulled it.
Because
I've not read it.
It was GLAAD Media Award for Outstanding Comic Book. It was a limited series by Mark Russell, who was the writer, penciler Mike Thean, inker Mark Morales, and colorist Paul Mounts. But it was I thought it was really well done. It was sad though. It was not a comic where you at the end of it came out of it going, oh, that was sweet, or whatever. No. It was a little bit more realistic, and
isn't he closeted with a beard? Like he has a fake girlfriend and all that kind of stuff.
Snagglepuss?
Yeah,
No.
But he is he closeted or open? I can't remember.
I don't
What I
recall
read
that he
about
was, but there were a lot of. I mean, it was a whole storyline there. I don't think he was. It's been a minute since I read it though. But anyway, at any rate, that was good. If you haven't read it and you are interested, I think that would be a good one to pick up. And then the other thing that wanted to mention, and this is something that I'm really excited about, is the I say House of X, Powers of X, but you said Powers of 10.
I read somewhere that it's Powers of 10, and I give them.
Why would they do that?
I give them a complete side eye for that because.
Well, I'm going to call it House of 10.
I don't care. They could call it X-Men Happy Hour. Hickman is writing X-Men.
He loves Hickman.
I'm so
I'm a big fan of Hickman too.
Well, so I'll be honest. I've not been the biggest fan of the X-Men in the last, 1 to 10 years. And this is the first time that I'm actually feeling a little bit of excitement for them again.
Okay.
For the first time in a very long time. And I'm glad because I was very sad for a long time because they were my favorite growing up. They were my go-to team.
Sure.
They were my go-to characters, and then over time, I just felt like they just got destroyed in a lot of ways. And this, whether it's warranted or not, that's still to be decided. But this graphic that Rashad has pulled up here is very exciting to me. Not only from the fact that Hickman is involved, but that there's an Ez apparently, Mark.
Yes.
There's an Ez drawing. But
for anyone that doesn't understand, I like artists whose name in it is
or as
Perez.
Well, this is
Jimenez.
Yeah, this is Mark Brooks, I think. What it
Larraz.
is. But yeah, Larraz is doing the art for the Hickman series.
But so we have just gone round and round. Most of these we know, but there are probably 3 or 4 that we are just not exactly sure about.
So we don't know who this Nightcrawler-esque dude is.
Nightcrawler /
I was reading one of these articles about these characters, like talking about who they are, and the person who read the article was saying, even though that guy looks so much like Nightcrawler on the left side, he's got the face, the eyes, and the hair of Gambit, and so he thinks it might have something to do with Gambit also.
Well, Nightcrawler's dad was red, and so some people have said that that's not him, but that it's his dad. Well, as Azazel, I think.
Yeah,
Azazel.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But it's his eyes that make us think it might be something to do with Gambit.
Well, Rogue is not in this either. So,
right. Yeah.
Right.
And then I love what we came up with the other night as far as who this mystery female is.
Yeah.
That it could be the daughter of Colossus and Kitty. And
that does sound exciting.
That makes a lot of sense, and I hope we're the first on record to say that because that's just kind of badass.
Well, here's how that all went down. We were like, okay, that's Magic's sword. Oh, but
Kitty has wielded the sword before.
Right, but it's Colossus's armoring, so we're not sure about that. And then all of a sudden we just were like, oh my god, this could be their child. Because there's obviously some time issues going on in this photo. I mean, you've got children in this photo.
You got Baby Storm and Baby Havoc.
Baby Storm, Baby Havoc. You've got, a Professor X that appears to be much younger.
You got Moira.
Well, we think who we think is Moira. I'm still not exactly convinced. I think it would be great if it were, but I'm still not there. And there are some people who are conspicuously missing out of this.
Yeah, there's no Kitty, there's no Rogue.
There's no Kitty, maybe. There's no Rogue, unless Kitty is sitting next to Professor X.
No one thinks it's Kitty.
Some people might think that.
Some people think it's Kitty, but not me.
Not me. No.
Well, some people think it's Moira, and I don't know that it's Moira either.
I think it's Moira.
I'm voting Moira. Moira.
So.
And we've got 3 Wolverines on this cover.
3 potentially Wolverines.
Because we just don't need enough Wolverines.
I know. We got 3 Wolverines.
Because we get Wolverine back from the dead, and what do? They start instantly throwing around. Because he's going to be in the Savage Avengers, which I'm just like, do we need Wolverine in the Savage Avengers? No, we don't.
Well, and I will say this: he's the only one that's duplicated here.
Yeah. Well, you got 2 Storms. You got Baby Storm.
If that's Storm. Yes, if that is Storm. Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's definitely Baby Storm from the which run was it? It was some specific run that she had.
So this article says that girl sitting next to Xavier is Moira MacTaggart. Moira MacTaggart.
Yeah.
Well, they don't know. They're guessing.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying they're guessing like everybody else. I'm just saying that's what. Since I don't know any of these characters, I'm gonna guess what they guess. Or at least I know Magneto. I know that.
And we did read that wasn't Warbird. I mean, what is it?
It's not Warbird.
It's not
Warpath. It's Thunderbird.
Oh, okay.
And someone said that, but I'm not sure how they guessed that. Does he look different some kind of way?
No, they look the same.
They look the same, right?
Yeah.
And they wore the same costume for a minute, so I don't know. But we got Firestar there, which I'm a fan of Firestar because Spider-Man is Amazing Friends.
Dazzler's old uniform, so that's pretty cool.
So it is Dazzler.
So I guess
the White Queen's in the black outfit, which I think is interesting.
Right.
And then Marvel Girl is, Jean Grey is as Marvel Girl in this. So one thing we guessed at was that maybe this isn't a one single timeline. Maybe this is representative of them rewriting the Marvel
time travel.
No, not time travel, but that they were rewriting the whole X-Men universe, and that they're actually showing points in time with these characters. So I mean, basically, there's a lot of question, and of course, my question is, why are we having, do another big event? Can't we just, because it's going to be 6 issues of House of
I don't
X
care.
and 6 issues of Powers of
Hickman
10.
writing X-Men.
I just want like good X-Men stories,
I'm
Well, I want to know
I
why
think
it's
Hickman
House
can
of
get
X
to-
but Powers of 10. That's curious
don't
to me.
know.
Yeah, I don't know. I got nothing on that.
Talking about Baby Aurora.
Hey, baby Aurora.
Aurora.
What is that?
His Gucci bag. Gucci.
It's a sword. It's a pouch. It's a tail. I mean, everything about that kind of says Azazel because Azazel was red.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you're saying about the eyes. That they're purple.
They're kind of glowing purple.
Yeah, that's what
But
the
did
person.
Azazels do that?
I don't remember.
Well, go to Nightcrawler. His eyes are like black, aren't they? Or blue,
White.
white.
Yeah. Any old color. will
Yeah,
do.
Or black
insert,
or blue?
Insert
Well,
any
white.
color here.
So
I love how Lilandra is giving all the side eye to Myra. She's like, get away from my
who
man.
might be Myra?
Look at all that side eye. You think her name was Puck. But,
Wait, who's the guy right behind her?
The
With
white
the
guy or
M?
the pink guy?
Yeah, the guy to the left with the M on his eye.
Oh, that's
Bishop. That's
Bishop.
90s Bishop.
That's the guy that's in the Prisoner,
He's in Prisoner X,
comic.
yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
See, I know that guy.
And of all the bad guys, why Toad? What's that
I
about?
know. It's really
Right.
odd that Toad's there.
Yeah.
Is he bad though?
He looks bad. Look at
Toad's
Toad's bad.
He's part of the Brotherhood of Evil.
But I'm just saying, like,
What are you saying?
That's what they were called.
Brotherhood of Evil.
And who did we turn? Oh, y'all said that was Blink back there, right?
That's Age of Apocalypse Blink.
Okay. Blow up on her some more.
What's the difference?
That's
How do you know?
Her outfit.
Oh, okay.
Oh, just what she's wearing.
Yeah.
and
Age of Apocalypse Iceman.
gotcha. So I don't know. We'll
And then a bug.
yeah.
A Brood. Do y'all not remember the Brood?
I remember the Brood.
I do, but that's not what the Brood looked like back then. I'm just telling you.
So this is gonna be my big jump off into X-Men, so it better be good.
They're saying it's going to be
Well, we're
akin
hoping.
to Giant Size X-Men #1, which was
Again, this is my jump off into
Exactly.
it, so.
And Vulcan, of all characters.
Yeah, super crazy,
Vulcan, yeah.
overpowered Vulcan. I don't usually care about people being overpowered, but I give him a complete side eye. So yeah.
What were his powers again?
Everything.
Everything.
Include anything?
Absolutely all
Oh,
the things.
Look,
He has the power to absorb other people's power, right?
Yeah,
Something like that?
and also
Yeah, but
shut
that
them
doesn't
off.
look like that.
I mean,
And it's close
similar, it's
enough.
close.
It's bug-like. I
I think he just wants to argue about
Just
it.
wants to argue.
mean, no, I don't. That's just not what it looked like to me. It looks like a bug, which is what the Brood.
And I am so excited.
So, okay, what else you got? Comic book.
No, that was it.
That was it.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Mr.
What
Man?
do you have comic book wise? You said Chris's stuff. Oh, did you want
That's
to talk
all
about
his stuff.
Extremist, or do you want me to?
We
You
can.
got
I
a
haven't.
stack of comics
We
over
can. I
there.
haven't read the most because I've been doing.
Oh yeah,
homework
you
and I've
haven't
not
read the most
any of
recent
these.
one. That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
You want us to run it for you?
Sure, go ahead. I did pick up Batman 1000, or I mean Detective Comics 1000.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I picked it up too and read it. They did the same thing. I don't know if y'all read it yet. They did very similar to what
I'm not a big
Action
Batman
Comics
fan.
did. It was like 10 little stories put together. Overall, I thought it was fine, but it's not like something I would write on. It was $10 though.
I've just learned that that's what they do on those big issues. They don't. The story doesn't have anything
It's
to do
like
with the
an
main
annual.
thing.
Mhm.
They just throw a bunch of stuff together to celebrate the character.
See what's
Yeah.
I mean, it is a good celebration of his character through the age. Because, like, and of course, I'm not as familiar with Batman, but, like, Superman, they did a lot of throwbacks. Like, they made a joke about, oh, he's wearing the red shorts again. I'm glad he's putting back on the red shorts.
That was
like,
funny.
Like, that was cute. And then they had the callback all the way to Action Comics 1 with the car and, like, the guy getting his car fixed. He's like, some guy lifted my car up. And the guy's like, what are you talking about? So I don't know. I mean, I feel like they probably did something similar with this, but
I did see one of the like a sample of it where I think it was Batgirl arguing with Batwoman, about.
Yeah, why am I a girl and you're a woman?
Yeah, and I thought, well, Barbara, you were there first. You could be woman if you want to, you know. So
I will say, of all the stories, that one was probably like the most beautiful one of all of them. Just the print, they're like it's all the different Batman characters bickering, but what happens in the end of it, I was like, that's
they become
a good
a family at the end, kind of thing.
Well, I mean,
didn't it have Dick as Nightwing in that too? So I kind of go, when is the timing of this? Because you know, in Nightwing's comic book, Dick is Rick and he's not Nightwing, and you know, it's just
that's neat.
I think that's
I haven't
beautiful.
even looked at this.
And then, you know, why is she there? Because this Huntress isn't really affiliated with the rest of these people. I don't know. I'll have to flip through it.
Well, so I mean, do y'all want me to tell y'all what this one little story is about?
Dude,
so
the dog is there, cute.
So
That's
basically all the characters associated with Batman, like all the Nightwing and Robin and all the different Batgirl, Batwoman. And they're all kind of like arguing about like, why are we here? What's going on? And then Batman just shows up and everyone kind of gets into a picture, and then they take a picture and he takes that to the graveyard to put on the Wayne grave.
So
it's about family and coming together. And so it's like they all get together for this picture, and then they all go their separate ways.
And then he puts it on the grave to tell everybody who his secret identity is? Is that what it is?
I think it's to remind himself that he's got this whole family, even though he's lost his parents. Mm-hmm. He's got all these people to rely on,
which is great.
And he does it. I think they say that he's done this every year. Like it's something that he's done every year, and I'm sure he goes back and takes the picture off. So he doesn't ruin his identity.
What are you doing, Rashad?
Why is that on the screen? Because I've seen this. I watched this the other day.
You're not showing that like on.
Yeah.
Nah, they can't see.
Okay. Rashad is distracting us with really.
I would hope that he's not showing this to everybody while we're talking about this.
Oh, this is some weird art.
Yeah, it's a little bit of everything.
I think they have is it multiple artists?
Oh yeah, it's a bunch of different artists. Yeah. What else? Have you read anything else, Derek?
Like I said, unfortunately, I haven't had the opportunity to read my comics that I picked up Wednesday because I've been doing homework.
And I picked up a few,
I picked up Extremists.
Of what I read, I didn't love anything.
Yeah, I didn't like the first one of these. Rashad read it though, and he made some comments about it. You want to talk about it?
Yeah, I read the second one of those, and it was actually way better than the first one. I think it ended really strong. Basically, if you ever remember reading Age of X-Men, it seems like the whole plot is going towards the point that everybody's lacking love. Everybody's going towards this way of thinking that to be alone is to be best, and that's how you move forward as a society. And they just do a really good job of telling the story of Blob, and I won't give it the whole thing away, but Blob pretty much confesses his love to someone, and then you see the repercussions of that at the end.
I see that. Get it?
It's very interesting.
The art is nice. I give it that.
Yeah, the art is not bad. This one was okay. Like the first one, did not. I didn't enjoy it really. It was like I said. It's still on the bottom of my list. But yeah, Blob's whole like speech that he gives, it's like, okay, that's actually some decent writing.
Yep.
So, but I think that it had less Iceman and Jubilee goofing off in this issue. Okay, and like, what is her name? Monet? No, it's not Monet. It's
Moneta.
Moneta, that's it. Like, what? I mean, okay, let's just throw in random French words all the time. It's a really weird character choice for them writing her. I just don't. I don't really like any of the characters except for I kind of like Blob now, and Psylocke. That really, Okay, yeah, I get it. So.
What about comic books? What have you read this week, or are looking forward to?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it looks like you got about 10 of them on your list.
I do. I've been sitting here trying to add them to the show notes so we can have them later.
Because we're closing out in about 10 minutes.
Yeah. Oh,
So I have a question.
You
Is
got
that,
1
is
minute
Is that
for-
Psylocke with Blob? Is that who that is?
yes,
Yes.
Psylocke.
So is
Yeah.
she a feeder?
So yeah,
I
what have I
mean-
been watching? Okay, so let's see, let me run through Marvel
I hope it's
stuff. So we talked about Extremist already. So I read Next Gen. I'm really enjoying Next Gen. Is probably my number 2 right now out of all the Age of X-Men stuff. With all the younger X-Men, I'm really enjoying that one. What they're kind of. Blob is kind of figuring out. Well, Blob, he knows what's up.
I mean, Glob.
Yeah, I actually like Blob. It's good.
I make a crossover back into the regular comic?
They may. I mean, it'll be interesting to see what they do after this. I'm hoping they use some of the younger X-Men.
Yeah.
Because we need some fresh blood. I mean, I enjoy the nostalgia trip, but at the same time, I think we need to be introducing new characters and building on them. Where's Tempest?
Tempest was so good. Tempest was short-lived.
You would think
Tempest was so
You
good.
would think
Like,
X-Men Next Gen would be the time to introduce those.
Well,
new-
I mean,
I
that's
prefer
what it
these
is.
are new, but these
Okay.
have also been around
But-
for a minute.
but
I
it's
prefer
also-
gold balls
Yeah,
myself.
gold balls.
Less gold balls. Hard.
I'm not so sure about gold balls. But yeah, Tempest is probably the only good thing to come out of the Bendis run of X-Men. And that's probably the only nice thing I'll say about that. But anyway, so yeah, I'm enjoying Next Gen. Then Amazing Nightcrawler is meh. I'm
Not so amazing.
I'm not. Well, no, I mean it's not bad, but it's just not hooking me. It just is kind of.
Why is this logo like
It's kind of
Spider-Man?
weak. I don't know. They decided to, do
So
it
there's
like
nothing in
that.
the story that ties it to
So-
Spider-Man?
Because somebody
No,
at
not
Marvel
really.
did a copy and paste.
Right, yeah, what's going on with that? That's pretty
So
weird.
yeah, I don't know why they decided to do that, but yeah, so it's okay. So he, like Rashad said, so this whole, as you're kind of uncovering this whole Stepford, X-Men world where they're, where they're living now in this utopia. It's all about individualism. They really don't put any emphasis on family or love, and so love is forbidden.
So do you think this is because
romantic love is
X-Man
forbidden.
is so lonely?
I don't know. They haven't really completely kind of delved into that yet.
So
So-
I went back and I'm reading the older Uncanny now.
Yeah.
The one before they kind of.
Oh yeah, you went back and read
did a soft
Disassembled.
reboot. Yes.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that X-Men's talking with Apocalypse and Kitty and
Yeah.
someone else.
Well,
is
and he
there.
has a conversation with Jean too in the cafe.
Oh yeah, he does.
And so I need to go back and read that again. I think that may give some clues to what's going on
So
now.
it's pretty much leaning to the fact that he's trying to create this utopia and he's getting input from all these different people and trying to create the perfect world, but it's not so perfect in the Age of X-Men. So
Because he's broken.
Yeah. But so Nightcrawler is kind of having this well, I don't want to spoil too much, but let's just say that he's kind of having a crisis, with some things going on. So, then
Because he's always about religion and stuff. Is that his issue?
no, not really. It's not that's not his issue, but he is very he is very by the book, and so that he's kind of having he's getting tempted, by some things, and so it's kind of him dealing with that temptation, this issue. So yeah, kind of a crisis of faith in a way, I guess, but still just not my favorite. Let's see. So I covered those two. We'll talk about Apocalypse. We'll talk about Marvelous X-Men. So Marvelous X-Men was and Apocalypse and the X-Tracks kind of went together this time. The issues came out one week after the other, or no, they came out the same week, I believe. But so the X-Men have discovered Apocalypse. He's kind of come out from hiding and is all about it's okay to love. If you fall in love, it's okay. Everybody should love. Everybody should have relationships. So it's the counter to what the utopia is. So he's the villain in that way.
Okay.
Which is, but I just love,
Hilarious.
so they go and they confront it. So you kind of see it from that angle. But then Apocalypse and the X-Tracks. So if you pull that one up, is kind of you get a little more from the other angle, Apocalypse's angle. So that's so they kind of mirror each other. But I'm digging this art.
That looks fun.
I really, yeah. So we'll pass it around. Let me find it.
So that's Dazzler and who else?
Yeah. So this is
iBoy?
This is Kitty Pryde, Dazzler, Genesis, iBoy, and a new character called Vale.
Huh.
So yeah, but it's
the new
kinda
characters
digging
are
it.
throwing me off a little.
Yeah, I mean, really, Vale is the only new character that I kind of like, and she
With
really
her
hasn't
power?
been expanded yet.
They use
They
her.
use her to.
They create they kind of create a drug.
Yeah, it's not really. It's kind of a drug, but it's not. It's not like addictive. It brings them. It like helps them remember things, because that's the whole thing. Is like if you're caught being in love, you get 3 strikes. You don't know you get 3 strikes, but essentially you get 3 strikes. So they mind wipe you. But if Vale is able to undo, this drug that she's creating is able to undo the mind wipe, and you realize what's going on. So, not that you realize like in the sense that Blob does, that everything is wrong, but you just remember that you've been mind wiped, and that all of these other things. So yeah, I'm kind of digging that.
Pip, you need to go out.
Let's see. So we did that. We carried those. Okay. One thing. So this was interesting. I didn't know that this one, Uncanny X-Men: Winter's End,
Oh yeah, I saw that.
which I assume was supposed
got
to
the
be the
first one.
closeout of the of Bobby's, whole solo series. Which
Something.
it was. I read it just so I could kind of be up to date on what was going on, but it wasn't great.
It was not great.
It felt like.
I didn't
It
pay
just
close
felt.
enough
It
attention.
felt like them. It felt like them kind of forcing to tie up these little bows. Like, so here's the whole thing. My whole issue with Gene outing Bobby, in the issue and all this, like he addresses that in this. He's like, yeah, that totally did suck, and I totally was pissed off, and blah blah blah. And so he kind of confronts Gene about that because they're both adults now. And they have their younger selves' memories. So
Right.
so it's kind of him dealing. It's kind of him dealing with that and kind of wrapping up the whole story with that. It was kind of meh, but at least I kind of know what's going on now. X-Force. So is good. I don't want to spoil too much, but I will say that in issue 4, at the end of issue 4, we kind of we were introduced to a classic character, a classic villain comes back, and which was interesting. And so then this issue is kind of a flash forward, because it's in Cable's past, which is actually the future, and so how he ended up on the mission that he is on now.
And it's neat in that it ties to a lot of the stuff's been happening in the X-Men with the original 5 being
Yeah.
brought to the future.
Yeah, the whole thing.
Why he killed his older self.
Exactly.
It gives a lot of reasoning behind all that. So it was cool.
Yeah.
You said you liked the art better, and I think I liked it. I like it a little bit better, but I still don't love it.
No, yeah, that's why I said better relatively.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not like I'm not like completely loving it. It's not like Uncanny. I'm loving the art in Uncanny. So yeah, it's better. They changed artists. But,
I will say that
it's not.
I'm enjoying it though.
Yeah.
And you're enjoying the story, and then just really kind of wondering what's going to happen with Warbird. Is that his name? Warpath.
Warpath. Yeah.
Yeah. So
we'll see.
what else you got?
Let's see. So Guardians of the Galaxy. I have now read the first 3 issues, and I'm really kind of liking it. I'm liking the art, and I'm liking the story. It'd be interesting to see kind of where this goes with all of this, especially with War of the Realms coming up, and I hope it's not going to get derailed too bad. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. Yes.
Is War of the Realms a Thor story? Is it the whole thing?
Well, I don't know. I'm not familiar with it.
So,
Apparently, I think Chris or Brooks were talking about it's essentially the culmination of Jason Aaron's
I think it's
Thor
yeah.
run.
So throughout his latest run or the latest whatever Thor run, Malekith, sorry, he's been kind of gaining power to the point where he's about to unleash hell on the rest of the world or the galaxy, whatever, the different realms.
The seven realms.
The seven realms. And so
I think it's 10.
Thor and the Guardians and like all these different comics are going to come together and face him and the Dark Elves.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's the main thing. But yeah, it's all Jason Aaron. I think he's kind of finishing his whole Thor run with this epic event.
But yeah, so
which comes out tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's the release.
Tomorrow. So I'm enjoying that. Okay, so then two that are not Marvel. We'll talk about High Level first. So High Level, this is the second. It's the second one in the list. So this is the second issue. So 13 is the main character. She's the girl there. She has gotten Minna. So essentially, in the first issue, she is handed this girl. The girl's name is Minnow, who is essentially supposed to be the savior of something, the human race somehow, or she has some sort of power, and she's supposed to be taken to High Level.
That old trope.
Yeah. I mean, it is kind of tropey. But it's post-apocalyptic, so it's kind of fun. So in this one, she, 13 is a very reluctant, like she totally does not want to do this, is not interested at all. And so by the end of this issue, she has pretty much, I mean, there is nothing else that she can do except take Minnow to High Level. So she's on the way. It's good. I'm enjoying it. The art is kind of come and go. The writing is okay, but it's fun. I mean, I'm enjoying it. So I wouldn't say it's like top of my list. It is DC's Vertigo, yeah, and so I'm enjoying it. So a new one this week, which is, because I love the art for this, is Invisible Kingdom. So G. Willow Wilson, who did Miss Marvel, and then Christian Ward is the artist. I love this art. So the whole premise is it's kind of two females. One is kind of a pilot who runs shipment for this company, and then another girl who wants to become a nun, which is like None, but still kind of the idea of an NUN, like she wants to become part of this order. And so by the end of the first issue, both of them have stumbled onto a secret. They've stumbled onto something that people have been wanting to hide, and so I assume that eventually their paths will cross as they both investigate, what they have discovered, because they've kind of discovered the exact same thing. I love the art. It's really colorful. I mean, it is like, very like I'm really enjoying the fluorescent. I mean, it gives us this really kind of everything kind of pops off the page, but it's not. At the same time, it's not overdone. I mean, it really fits with this whole sci-fi kind of pulpy sci-fi.
As I
like that
they've gone with it.
As I flipped through it, it reminded me of Fifth Element.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of really high. Everything kind of pops. It's really kind of like high. I can't think of what I'm trying to say, but yeah, it is kind of that it kind of Fifth Element.
Kind of trippy.
Yeah.
Fifth Element's one of those movies that if I'm flipping through and I run across it, I
Watch it
wind
every
up-
time.
I'll stop and watch it.
Every
I
time.
wind up sitting and just getting sucked in.
Yeah.
One of those
love
movies
it
you
so
can explain
much.
how it ends so many times, and you're like, how does that movie start?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, both of the so
I've never seen the beginning.
so that is it. That is what I've read
Cool. And
within the past couple of weeks.
all right.
So and we're over time.
Yep, by only 1 minute, so
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
good.
not mad at that. Yeah, I lied to you.
Cue the
earlier,
music.
So we would.
Uh,
Because I'm smart.
so
like
I would
that.
rush.
Wait, do you want to do any call outs to the show or the
Well,
Facebook page? Or...
we can say happy birthday to Haven. They celebrate their birthday tomorrow. It's
Yay.
actually today, I believe. So yay!
Yes, today.
Is this their
Birthday,
overall
Haven.
birthday or their birthday of moving into the new place?
Overall birthday.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So yeah, check us out on what is it, Rashad? Facebook and Twitch and all the things.
Mm-hmm. Twitch, Grown Ass Kids Show. YouTube, Grown Ass Kids Show. Twitter, Grown Ass Kids Show.
You should probably check these before.
Facebook, Grown Ass Kids Show.
Oh, feel better, Chris. We
Yeah,
missed
feel
you.
better,
Yeah.
Chris.
Mwah.
So,
Au revoir.
All right. Have a good week.
Good night, John Boy.
Good night, John. Bye-bye.
I'm just dancing. I don't know what he's doing. Is it off?
Are we still live?
Yeah.
You need to turn us off, Rashad.
I was trying to get
Oh my gosh.
You got them all by the balls, causing waterfalls, stone walls, bar brawls, common stalls at concert halls. To you they crawl, body sprawl, smoking palm malls, close calls, stand tall, doll, you make them feel so small. And they love it! The boys wanna be her, the girls wanna be her, the boys wanna be her, the girls wanna be her, the boys wanna be her, the girls wanna be her, the boys wanna be her. I wanna be her. Yes, I do. The way you rock non-stop, girl, you got the chops, flip-flop, she bop, self-top, your licks are hot. Her lyrics heave, kids receive, crawling up the sleeve. Parents peeved, can't conceive that her deed will never leave. And we love it! The boys wanna be her, the girls wanna be her, the boys wanna be her, the girls wanna be her, the boys wanna be her, the girls wanna be her, the boys wanna be her. I wanna be her. So do you. Listen up, listen up, listen up. Voices scatter, 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 listen up, listen up, listen up.